same as any other article, and whoever holds them when the interest becomes due may demand and must receive it. If the printed paper promises to pay $6 a year for every $100 borrowed, it is called United States 6% stock. If it promises to pay $4 a year for every 100, then it is called United States 4% stock. And the last question for this session, question 113. What other power does Congress possess? Answer. It may make rules according to which the commerce of the citizens of the United States with other nations, that is, the exchange of our goods for theirs or for money by means of vessels or other conveyances, shall be carried on. Also, the commerce of one of the states with another, and that if the different states or of the United States with the Indian tribes. Some persons believe that the power to regulate commerce among the several states includes the power to make roads and canals from one state to another. Others deny this. Ooh, now there's quite a deal. That is the end of this session and page number 14. And we will see you for session number 15. Welcome back. And this is session number 15. Question 114. What is the next power given to Congress by the Constitution? Answer. You recollect what was before said about naturalization, which means the admitting of a foreigner, that is, a native of some other country, to become a citizen of the United States. Congress has power to make one uniform rule according to which this shall be done throughout the country. It may also make uniform laws for the whole Union on the subject of bankruptcy. Question 15. What is bankruptcy? Answer. When a man has not money or goods enough to pay his debts, he is a bankrupt. And the being in that situation is bankruptcy. The object of laws on this subject is to compel such a man to give up all he has got to the people he owes, and to fix the terms on which he may be set free from the debts he cannot pay. Question 116. What else can Congress do? Answer. It may coin money. That is, it may mark or stamp certain pieces of metal in a way which shall make them pass in buying and selling at a set value. It may also fix what shall be the value of coin that has been marked or stamped in any other country when it is used in the United States. It may likewise declare one uniform size for the weights and measures used throughout our country. Question number 17. May any persons who please coin money? Answer, no. None but those employed to do so by Congress. They work at a place called the Mint. Question 118. If any other person shall coin money in his own name, or shall stamp it so as to resemble that coined at the mint, or that which, though coined in other countries, is allowed to pass as money in the United States, called current coin, may he be punished? Answer, yes. It is a crime called counterfeiting, and may be punished in any manner Congress shall appoint. Question 19. Suppose they counterfeit not the money of the United States, but the stock issued by government. Answer. They are punished the same as if they had counterfeited money. Question 120. What other power belongs to Congress? Answer. They may establish post offices and post roads. Question 121. What is a post office? Answer. A place where letters carried from one part of the country to another at the expense of the United States are received and delivered. And the last question for this session, question 122. And what is a post road? Answer. A road on which the bag containing these letters, called the mail, is carried. And that is the end of session number 15. And if you want to continue, we will see you on session 16. Well, welcome back. You are really pursuing the Constitution if you've gone this far. Now, this is session number 16, but I got to tell you, let me go to the back of the book here. We are going to have 40 sessions, so we're not even halfway. Although many of these sessions are maybe 10 minutes long, so you can kind of bite-size pieces. And so here we are, page number 16 and session 16, and we will read questions 123 through 130. Question 123. What is meant by establishing these? And this is a reference to postal, what is it called here now? Post offices and postal roads. What is meant by establishing these? Answer. Making a law which directs where the post offices shall be and by what roads the mail shall be carried. Some persons say that it includes a power to erect buildings for post offices and to make roads where they are wanted. Others deny this. Question 124. Has Congress any further powers? Answer. It may grant what are termed patent rights and copyrights. Question 125. What does this mean? Answer. When a person has found out some new and useful contrivance, Congress may give him an exclusive right to make and sell what he has contrived for a certain number of years. During that time, nobody else may make or sell that article without leave from the man who contrived it. And if they do, they are liable to be punished. This is called a patent right. Whoever writes a book may also have the exclusive right to print and sell it for a certain time. This is called a copyright. Question 126. Can Congress erect courts? That is, make a law directing that a judge shall sit at certain places, at certain times, before whom causes or criminals shall be tried? Answer. Yes. It may appoint as many courts as it thinks fit, but they must all be inferior to the great court of the country, called the Supreme Court of the United States. Question 127. Can it punish piracy? That is, robbery committed at sea? Answer. Yes, and all other crimes committed there. It can also punish offenses against the law of nations. Question 128. What do you mean by the law of nations? Answer. I mean those rules which are agreed upon among all nations, except those who are savages, to regulate their conduct toward each other. Question 129. Has Congress any other power? Answer. Yes. It has one most solemn and important power, the power of declaring war between the United States and any other nation. Question 130. When Congress has declared the United States to be at war with any particular country, can any of the citizens of the United States remain at peace with that nation? Answer. No. However much they may dislike the war or love the nation against whom it is declared, all must, when required, aid in it by their money or their services, and bring it as soon as possible to a successful end. If they attempt to aid the enemy or forcibly hinder the success of the war, they commit treason. And that is another session completed, number 16. And the next session will be number 17. And welcome to session number 17, questions 131 through 139. Question 131. When the United States have cause of complaint against another nation, and yet do not wish at once to go to war, is there any other measure they can take to compel that nation to do them justice? Answer. Yes. Congress may issue letters of marque and reprisal. Question 132. What are they? Answer. They are certain public letters directed to merchants of the United States who have been injured and have refused redress, permitting them forcibly to take vessels belonging to the offending nation, sufficient to make up the loss. But this must be done only according to certain rules fixed by Congress. Question 133. You say Congress may declare war. Can they raise armies? That is, can they hire soldiers to fight for the country? Answer. They can, and pay, clothe, and feed them at the public expense. Question 34. Can they make a law setting apart money enough at one time to pay and support the army for more than 2 years? Answer. No, not at one time, lest a wicked Congress might, by keeping up an army, remain in power beyond the time for which they were chosen, and so destroy the liberty of the country. Question 135. Why was the time limited to 2 years? Answer. Because every 2 years a new Congress may be chosen. Question 136. Can Congress in like manner provide and maintain a navy, that is, buy or build ships of war, and hire, clothe, and feed men to navigate and fight them? Answer. Yes, and make rules to govern both army and navy. Question 137. When may they be called out to do this? Answer. When they are wanted to enforce the laws, to overcome any of their fellow citizens who are so foolish and wicked as to rebel against our free and excellent form of government, or to meet and drive out any enemy who invades, that is, forcibly enters any part of our country. Question 139. But as the great mass of the people are ignorant of the art of war, how is this to be done? Answer. Congress has power to provide for their being taught by collecting and arranging them in companies and regiments under their own officers, supplying them with arms and causing them to be properly exercised in their use. And that is the end of session number 17. Well, welcome back, and we are learning a lot out of this elementary catechism book. It was printed in 1828, and it was designed for elementary kids. So we get an idea for how much we know, right? They knew a whole lot more back then than we know. But we're going to catch up. We're going to find out. We are on session number 18 today, or page number 18, and we've been talking about the military. So now this session is going to be questions 140 through 146. So here's question 140. May Congress command them, and what we're talking about is the military, or are they to be commanded by their own state governments? Answer. The President may command so many of them as are employed in the service of the United States. The rest are commanded by the states. Question 141. Who appoints the officers of the militia? Answer. The state governments. They also train, that is, exercise and instruct the men. But this must be done according to rules fixed by Congress. Question 142. Have you mentioned all the powers of Congress? Answer. No. They have power to make all the laws for a certain district, not more than 10 miles square, where Congress meets, and where the chief officers of government reside. This is called the seat of government. Question 143. Has this district no legislature of its own choice, as the states have? And the answer is no. Question 144. Is it a part of any state? Answer. No. It consists of territory, which the states have given up for the express purpose that it might be the seat of the general government. The territory at present used for this purpose is called the District of Columbia, and has been seceded, that is, given up, by the states of Maryland and Virginia, within which it before lay. Question 145. Is there any other place in the United States which is thus ruled by Congress alone? Answer. Yes. All forts, magazines, that is, places where powder and other things used by an army are laid up, arsenals, that is, buildings where arms are kept, and dockyards, that is, places where vessels of war are built, which belong to the United States, are governed not by the legislatures of the states in which they may be, but by the general government alone. Question 146. What other power is conferred by the Constitution upon the Congress of the United States? Welcome. My name is Paul Deny with Paul Deny Ministries, and if you've been around this ministry any time at all, you're somewhat familiar with what we do. We like to minister on the goodness of God. We minister on, living the good life. But we also minister on what I refer to as God and country. And it's very interesting to begin to see how the founding fathers of the United States of America, how they believed about the Bible and how much that influenced the founding of this great country, the United States of America. I've got in my hands a book titled A Miracle That Changed the World, The 5,000-Year Leap. It's an amazing book, and I have referred to it many times in some of our constitutional classes, but I've always wanted to read it from cover to cover and never have yet. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to sit down now. I'm sitting in my easy chair. I got the fire going, and I thought I'm going to start reading through this book. But I thought, if I read through the book, why don't I just go ahead and record this as I am reading, and then you will be able to read the book too. In other words, nowadays it's real easy to pick up an audio book and just listen to the book as opposed to, physically reading it. And so I thought, well, why don't I make an audio book of this book? And then you will have an opportunity to just kick back and like I say, now I've got it off camera here, but you're going to want to get something to drink and get in an easy chair and just listen to this book. What a fascinating book to share with us how the founding fathers put the United States of America together. Such a unique plan, such a unique country. There is no other country ever has been, or maybe not will be, I don't know, that has the founding based on the Word of God like the United States of America. Now, this book is in two parts. There are some introductory pages in this book that I'm going to bypass, and I'm going to go right to part 1, which is titled The Founder's Monumental Task: Structuring a Government with All the Power to the People. And I wrote on the very first page of this page that I'm going to start reading, not political party, but political power. And this is the founders' political spectrum. Part of the genius of the founding fathers was their political spectrum, or political frame of reference. It was a yardstick for the measuring of the political power in any particular system of government. They had a much better political yardstick than the one which is generally used today. If the founders had used the modern yardstick of communism on the left and fascism on the right, they never would have found the balanced center which they were seeking. Here's the next title: What is Left and What is Right? It's extremely unfortunate that the writers on political philosophy today have undertaken to measure various issues in terms of political parties instead of political power. No doubt the American founding fathers would have considered this modern measuring stick most objectionable, even meaningless. Today, as we mentioned, it is popular in the classroom as well as the press to refer to communism on the left and fascism on the right. People and parties are often called leftist or rightist. The public do not really understand what they're talking about. These terms actually refer to the manner in which the various parties are seated in the parliaments of Europe. The radical revolutionaries, usually the communists, occupy the far left, and the military dictatorships, such as the fascists, are on the far right. Other parties are located in between. Measuring people and issues in terms of political parties has turned out to be philosophically fascist if not totally misleading. This is because the platforms or positions of political parties are often superficial and structured on shifting sand. The platform of a political party of one generation can hardly be recognized by the next. Furthermore, communism and fascism turn out to be different names for approximately the same thing: the police state. They are not opposite extremes, but for all practical purposes are virtually identical. And the next heading: the American founding fathers used a more accurate yardstick. Government is defined in the dictionary as a system of ruling or controlling, and therefore the American founders measured political systems in terms of the amount of coercive power or systematic control which a particular system or government exercises over its people. In other words, the yardstick is not political parties, but political power. Using this type of yardstick, the American founders considered the two extremes to be anarchy on the one hand and tyranny on the other. At the one extreme of anarchy, there is no government, no law, no systematic control, and no governmental power. While at the other extreme, there is too much control, too much political oppression, too much government, or, as the founders called it, tyranny. The object of the founders was to discover the balanced center between these two extremes. They recognized that under the chaos, confusion, or under the chaotic confusion of anarchy, there is no law, whereas at the other extreme, the law is totally dominated by the ruling power and is therefore ruler's law. What they wanted to establish was a system of people's law, where the government is kept under the control of the people, and political power is maintained at the balanced center, with enough government to maintain security, justice, and good order, but not enough government to abuse the people. The founders' political spectrum might be graphically illustrated as follows. And I'm not going to be putting things up on the screen, but the picture here shows ruler's law at the extreme left, and it says 100% tyranny. And then far to the right is no law at all, 0% or anarchy. And then right smack dab in the middle, you know what I mean by that? Right in the center of this chart is people's law. So now here we're going to talk about ruler's law. The founders seemed anxious that modern man recognize the subversive characteristics of oppressive ruler's law, which they identified primarily with a tyrannical monarchy. Here are its basic characteristics. Number 1, authority under ruler's law is nearly always established by force, violence, and conquest. Number 2, therefore, all sovereign power is considered to be in the conqueror or his descendants. Number 3, the people are not equal, but are divided into classes and are all looked upon as subjects of the king. Number 4, the entire country is considered to be the property of the ruler. He speaks of it as his realm. Number 5, the thrust of governmental power is from the top down, not from the people upward. Number 6, the people have no unalienable rights. The king giveth, and the king taketh away. Number 7, government is by the whims of men, not by the fixed rule of law which the people need in order to govern their affairs with confidence. Number 8, the ruler issues edicts which are called the law. He then interprets the law and enforces it, thus maintaining tyrannical control over the people. Number 9, under ruler's law, problems are always solved by issuing more edicts or laws, setting up more bureaus, harassing the people with more regulators, and charging the people with these quote-unquote services by continually adding to their burden of taxes. Number 10, freedom is never looked upon as a viable solution to anything. And number 11, the long history of rulers' law is one of blood and terror, both anciently and in modern times. Under it, the people are stratified into an aristocracy of the ruler's retinue, while the lot of the common people is one of perpetual poverty, excessive taxation, stringent regulations, and a continuous existence of misery. Wow. Okay, here we go. The founder's attraction to people's law. In direct contrast to the harsh oppression of rulers' law, the founders, particularly Jefferson, admired the institutes of freedom under people's law as originally practiced among the Anglo-Saxons. As an authority on Jefferson points out, as one authority on Jefferson, he points out, Jefferson's great ambition at that time in 1776 was to promote a renaissance of Anglo-Saxon primitive institutions on the new covenant. Thus presented, the American Revolution was nothing but the reclamation of the Anglo-Saxon birthright of which the colonists had been deprived by a, quote, long trend of abuses, unquote. Nor does it appear that there was anything in this theory which surpassed or shocked his contemporaries. Adams apparently did not disapprove of it, and it would be easy to bring in many similar expressions of the same idea in documents of the time. And then it goes on to give several different references. The next paragraph, characteristics of the Anglo-Saxon common law,